out their composition with maybe more of a consistent engager if they feel like there are other power picks left.
Ezreal taken off the board here by Top Esports as that final ban, giving about less maneuverability. Down on the bot side, could well be a Jarvan then if you're looking for an Ezreal takeaway early doors, but the Vi picked up by Monki is going to give him, as we would expect, aggression from the get-go.
Yeah, Monki really just plays whatever his team needs him to play. He's incredibly versatile. That's not to say he's consistent, but he is incredibly versatile in terms of what he can pilot. If this is going to be a Naafiri lock-in, that's definitely going to be throwing the gauntlet down pretty early on here. Naafiri, a champion that I think Monki has been very willing to try and pilot and to try and play, and it's going to be Tian actually picking that one up. He was not very good yesterday against Hung and against LGD. This is a big bounce-back series for him.
Yeah, and I think Tian as well, one of the players who actually in split number 2, we had as a broadcast as the All-Pro first jungler. In fact, obviously the official broadcast going another way with Zuian, but we on the LPL English thought actually Tian, probably the best jungler that we had in split number 2. So definitely important that he gets a bounce back here in this one. And the Shen going to be what is locked in, presumably here for Zhuo.
Yeah, I don't really see this flexing to the top side unless there's some egregiously good matchup that they're going to be able to get, but it's certainly a skirmish comp coming in for WE. I would expect the Ahri to be locked here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe even like a Varus or something like that come down onto the bottom side. You could go for a Kai'Sa if you really wanted to go for more dive for about as well. That would be kind of the secondary option if you just really wanted to be aggro, but ultimately playing around a lot of these mid-game skirmishes has been WE's most consistent win condition, and they themselves are going to take away that Rumble we talked about not wanting to give it to Zuian, and they won't here.
Yeah, and like you say, one of the most played top laners for both of these two sides. Cube has been, for the longest time I can remember, was Rumble or Sion, and then you start to question whether Cube can play any champions. Now, of course, we know that that's not the case, but Rumble very much within that wheelhouse and is going to be a very good addition to this WE skirmish mid-game comp that they've drafted for themselves.
Yeah, and Top Esports are going to lock that Galio. That is, I want to say a flex, but it's really not. I expect this to go top lane for Zuian as the answer to the Rumble here. That's kind of been the most predictable answer to Rumble over the course of this year. I've been pretty vocal across the past couple of weeks that Galio has certainly been nerfed to the point where this counter pick isn't quite as strong as it used to be in the laning phase, but we will see if they want to give that a shot or if they want to leave it for Creme in the mid lane.
Yeah, and again, it probably it's serviceable versus the Ahri as well. Gives good lockdown if you can get on top of the Ahri in the first place, but that, of course, is the big problem. We head into the second round of bans. Both of these teams, we assume, missing bot laners, and presumably some other piece of the puzzle as well, with WE missing out on a support, Top Esports missing out on a solo laner of some variant as well. So that's going to be the focus from these two sides. The Ambessa and the Mel taken away by WE, as well as Lucian and Nautilus by Top Esports.
It's just so hard to ban out Top Esports' bot lane. Like, if you're going to be playing with Shen, JackeyLove can pick literally anything at this point and feel really comfortable. I imagine that's what's going to be coming through here. They're going to probably save that flex for the final pick of the draft. We will see if they, want to keep that rolling. But ultimately, if this guy wants to lock in something more aggressive, he absolutely can. If you want to lock in something that can play safe on the weak side, you can as well. Jace Hover here would be a pretty big giveaway. It's going to be that. It's going to be the Jace lock-in. I presume that's going to be going top lane for Zuian. He is a bit of a Jace player himself, which means the Galio is going mid, which I like more.
Alrighty, and it is the Ashe, presumably alongside, yep, there it goes, the Seraphine down on the bot side for WE. Nice and stable 2v2. Picked up for WE, and honestly a very well-rounded composition in terms of their damage profile. The small concern here for WE is they don't really have a front line, but they've got a lot of strong lanes to be able to coax them through not having that. Top Esports, the answer with a Ziggs, the great neutralizer down on the bot side, and again pick up what is now a very well-rounded damage-wise composition.
Yeah, I mean, both of these comps, I think, have very clear win conditions. WE have plenty of tools to be able to find their picks in the mid-game. With that Vi Ahri duo, you have Ashe Arrow as well to be able to create a lot of action in the mid-game, and you have a lot of damage in the late game. Yeah, you don't have a front line, but you have Rumble, you've got Seraphine, you've got plenty of ways to teamfight if you need to. Top Esports are going to be playing that macro game. You've got Galio and Shen to be able to protect this Naafiri, trying to make plays on the map. It's probably going to be a very explosive mid-game, one that is going to be very exciting to watch.
Is it picks or is it globals then for these two sides? WE starting off with a very much we will fight you composition, and Top Esports saying, well, where are you going to fight us? Because we can kind of match you pretty much anywhere. The general rule of thumb here for these compositions is focus the global. If you're WE, and obviously if you're not able to do that, then you could end up finding some of your own problems. As the coaches bid themselves and their teams farewell, it is a great time to remember that both of these teams fighting for good seeding through playoffs top esports, fighting for a top 2 position to get that berth into round 2 of the upper bracket. WE fighting currently with JDG in the standings, but would like to cement themselves as a top 4 side. With top esports looking to bounce back from a rough 0-2 versus LGD just yesterday, and WE on a pretty bad run of form themselves. It's game number 1 between WE and top esports. Usually we let the gyos ring, and, you know, we were merited in doing so here for that one, but a flash forced from Creme early, not going to be the best situation for the top esports mid laner, it's worth saying.
Yeah, and we've got even more pressure coming through here as the vertical jungle is going to be going down. Shuo has made his way up here, so Neferi is just going to be taking the top side of the map. Monki going to be making his way down to the bottom side. We'll see how aggressive top esports actually want to play this out. They're going to have full vision and understanding that the invade is coming, and JackeyLove actually could be in a bit of trouble. Monki's chased out. This is a big win for top esports early.
Yeah, it costs a little bit of HP from JackeyLove, but when you're playing the Ziggs, you're not playing to be strong-sided, and you're quite right that this is now a real big win for top esports. If, of course, they don't lose out on too much more. Summoner heal forced as Zhuo and JackeyLove do take the worst end of a very decent start to this bot lane for WE, and we'll see how much this comes home to hurt them. Obviously, Monki just now finishing his first camp, where we saw Tian has finished the entirety of Monki's top side and is now recalling.
Yeah, he's just going to recall and set himself back up to get out on the map. It's going to be really hard for Monki to be able to equalize here, and the reason that this is so important, I think, is because when you look at the way WE has played a lot of their wins throughout this split up until this point, so much of it is through Monki just playing really aggro before level 4, finding unique ways to invade and take away resources from the enemy jungler. He's not going to have that same level of proactivity in this game. Tian is definitely going to be a little ahead here. We'll see what he can do with that pressure. Is right now he is just going to be clearing his top side and continuing this vertical domination of the top side of the map.
And when I think of Neferi, I don't think of this super powerful ganking jungler. I just think of a jungler who randomly at 2 items comes and kills me. So getting Tian this early lead and his ability to get some farm nice and early, definitely going to bode well, as Monki here is going to be able to find some form of retribution by way of stealing out the Raptors, and with the pressure that his bot lane has accrued, rather, going to get to pay that forward as well. They're looking to take away the red buff. You can already see that Monki's recognised this, not too bothered, and taking his top side, takes the crabs, left his blue buff up most importantly, so he's looking to defend at least one of these camps down here.
He is attempting to make his way down. Monki will not be able to pick up every camp on this side, and we'll get over the wall, but ultimately this is still a win for Tian on the Neferi. So he's going to be making his way up. Teleport burned in the mid lane. I think it's important to note that because Creme doesn't have that flash available, they're going to be a lot more nervous about any sort of fights that happen around that early spike, and Monki's going to try to take advantage of this good bot lane pressure by making his way down. He's still going to be able to pick this up. What can Tian do with this free extra time? Because he's kind of just been wandering around mid lane.
Well, he did steal away the second spawn of Raptors, so and made no sort of surprise of that either. Walked through mid lane. I fully thought he was just going to tax Creme on the way through, but instead elects to take the chickens part 2. And actually, as this has broken down and as this has stabilized, Tian has got a very minimal experience advantage from taking second spawn of Raptors, but overall, not actually found himself with too much of an advantage here. That bot lane pressure from about an Erha was able to make a real difference.
Yeah, I think importantly, what you wanted to get out of that vertical jungle situation where you did have that tempo was a lead in the mid lane. And that pressure that he spent kind of hovering around it, it really turned into nothing. Karis was able to roam pretty efficiently and still keep the CS lead. This gank is really important.
dodges away from the charm with a Justice Punch, and it does force the flash from Karis, who is one wave away from level 6. So it doesn't really matter as long as Creme can maybe find a snap engage. Unless that's the case, it's probably going to be the fact that Ahri quite safe for the most part. We'll just quickly here take a look at some of the keystones on top esports' side with double Storm Raiders for their solo laners, the area of the map that we highlighted as being quite important for both of these two sides. They're both looking to make some plays with their movement speed buffs.
Well, if you want to play that split push macro style game with a lot of these globals, it's definitely helpful to have a lot of movement speed in order to be able to cover a lot more ground. I certainly think that's going to be important for top esports as this mid game continues to go along, because WE's comp is certainly not going to play safe or scared. Even with the flash blown on Ahri, plenty of playmaking tools that they're going to need to respond to. Question at this point is, where does that pressure come in? We're getting closer and closer to not only level 6s for the junglers, but level 6s are being hit for the solo laners as we speak. Dragon has spawned on the map as well. Will be that Hex Drake first and foremost. Both junglers, at least going to be on the bottom side of the map for now. We'll see if they want to prioritize this objective early. Maybe WE with that bot lane push will utilize it.
As we get sort of 6 minutes in here, Kman, nothing to split these two sides currently. That flash from Karis obviously was forced, and he does get taunted by Zhuo. Not going to feel emboldened to use the Spirit Rush. As we pan down to the river, Tian caught in no man's land, forced to flash and call the pack to get out of an engage by Karis. Now, who doesn't have the Spirit Rush available, could be a little bit more susceptible to going down. It's top esports who take that cooldown advantage and decide they're the ones who are going to start that dragon.
Yeah, this was well done by Tian. I know he has to burn the flash, but at the very least, he's able to get some priority in the river and get out. Getting the crab is important to be able to continue to let your bot lane push out and give them some time to be able to equalize that wave so you can step up in the river. Creme having that push as well, getting the plate. All good things as top esports is going to claim this first dragon for free and get themselves a nice lead. I think Tian being able to be slightly ahead in the jungle is really important for this team, but JackeyLove
gets caught by the beat drop there and about flashes forward. Zhuo misses the flash. Ding's level 6, and that's a 2v2 double kill. Tian looking for retribution. About tries to S-key under the Winds of War, unable to do so. That's a massive win for WE.
Just a huge overstep by JackeyLove to be in that position at all on Ziggs, just underestimating the combat power that About and Erha can put out. It's really well done to layer that CC, but Ashe Seraphine is an incredibly dangerous 2v2 duo, and we saw the exact reason why. JackeyLove just stepping up for the plate and just not respecting the fact that Erha and About are going to be able to basically perma-CC him and just burst him down if he's this far up. About burns the flash, but it is more than worth it to pick up this double kill early. Getting these two accelerated is really key towards making these mid-game skirmishes go even better for WE, because you have plenty of utility and you have plenty of setup. If Ashe is going to be getting a bunch of free kills, that is a very easy place to play through for WE.
Take note here of the boot choice for About. Very frequently we do see the Berserker's Greaves for Ashe, a champion that tends to scale very well with attack speed. But not the case this time round for About, so I'll be interested to see if there's a deviation in the build path any further for him. So he obviously got those couple of kills, a good boost to the income for that bot side, and you're going to look to leverage that into taking these grubs as well.
Yeah, definitely a completely free objective take here because of that extra gold that you were able to get. No way for top esports to be able to fight here. Luckily for them, they do still have plenty of comeback mechanics. We can talk all we want about JackeyLove overstepping on Ziggs, but there's a reason this champion's good. Zuian
caught by a root, caught by an encore, and caught in the mud. WE pick up their third kill. It goes to weight of Monki this time. Smite secures the crab, but the arrow lands flush onto Creme. Good waiting out of the timer on the CC before the charm comes through. As Creme lands all three with the taunt in response, but isn't able to get away, and it's WE here making real motion in the early stages of this game.
Yeah, top esports are just playing greedy. There is no reason for them to be here. Look at the wards that are on the top side. They know they can't enter that zone, and yet Zuian walks up anyways, just gets CC chained into death, and for some reason the team after that is like, I guess we have to try and coordinate some space towards the bottom side of that river. They're just getting punished for overstepping. This is the power spike for WE. They're using it incredibly well, and this is a team that snowballs really efficiently. They do really well when they have a gold lead, and they've generated a pretty nice one for themselves now.
And you said this in the draft, Kman. You said that WE are a pick-based composition, and a composition as such that really turns on at that level 6 marker. Well, the first couple of kills from the bot lane came as about dinged level 6. The subsequent kills from there have come from Erha's Encore, from Karis and having the access to the Spirit Rush. WE are playing to the win condition that you outlined so beautifully in the draft, and they too are doing such a good job with it. It's on Top Esports now to try and find some way back into this one. Zhuo is level 6 with the stand united. Creme, we saw the first hero's entrance not really make too much of a difference. They found one retribution kill, but didn't save anybody with that. As now we're seeing Cube be the focus. Stand United comes in, taunt does land, flash from Zuian to close the gap, and Cube will fall. The first play made by Top Esports that comes up flush.
That was an essential play to work for Top Esports. If they don't get that kill, things go very, very poorly. JackeyLove under tower here is getting dove.
Arrow comes in, hero's entrance, too little, much too late. Goodbye to JackeyLove. Creme will catch in on the wave, but that's going to give free time over to Karis as well.
And that's the thing, if you spend 30 seconds on the top side playing around a top dive, that's all of that free time for Monki to be able to set up a really easy dive onto the bottom side. Galio is not going to be able to save your bot laner in that instance. JackeyLove has kind of been thrown to the wolves in this game, and it's given about a really massive gold lead, almost a 2k gold lead for the bot lane of WE right now. They are incredibly strong on this map, and they're really the only part of this team that I thought would be susceptible to some mid-game plays. Right now, it feels like they're going to be able to control whatever lane they want, and Tian's going to have to start being aggressive. If this Neferi can't start getting kills, this game will snowball out of control very fast.
Yeah, obviously Zuian, the recipient of the kill of the top play, and Creme getting that kill earlier on in the match as well. It is gold into the solo laners for Top Esports, but it feels like in this game, for Creme in particular, it doesn't matter so much if he gets the kills. It's an abyssal rush for the Galio in the mid lane, so you're not going to see overwhelming amounts of damage coming out of this Galio just yet. Zuian picking up the kill, we can be quite happy about, as WE postured towards the dragon, but don't end up starting it. Maybe looking instead to defend Cube, who has recognised the problems that have befallen him. But it's WE who say, actually, we don't want this dragon, we want your lives. It's now a look into the top side, a look to defend, and if Top Esports don't lose anyone here, this could be quite good. Instead, Cube the one who gets jumped on. WE are here and ready to respond, though. Creme flashes over the wall, double taunt, Justice Punch knocks up Cube, and he should fall. Goes down first of all to Creme, now a response. Erha does take down Tian, he falls, and now it's WE running roughshod through their composition. Now instead, Zuian actually on the Jace, able to do a lot of work. Waiting for those cooldowns. Can he cycle them before the Q comes through from Monki? Has a 3-level lead, but doesn't have the cooldowns just yet. Monki comes up clutch in the 1v1, and it's WE who respond better to take out top.
It's a sloppy fight, but it's a very fun one, Rood, as we get a very, very good look of what potential skirmishes could be looking like for the rest of this game. Monki now 3-0-3 on this Vi. There are a couple of big misplays in this fight. Cube just stepping up a little bit too far, disconnected from the rest of the team. Does do a lot of damage before he comes down, but, Creme actually in a great position to be able to follow this up. The flash is massive, and he gets so much damage down onto Erha on this Seraphine that this champion's basically completely out of the fight by the time that everything really kicks off. At this point, it really does look like TES are kind of dead in the water in terms of the way they've set up, but Zuian does so much damage on the Jace, and is able to turn some things around. Monki obviously cleaning up the kills there. Stand United coming in.
Yeah, and for Cube, with no flash, this is a story that we've seen before. For the weak side Savant is fortunately now a third death in as many plays made by Top Esports. It is proving to be a little bit of a trend for Cube, a player who we highlighted at the start of this series as having had a very good run of things through split number 3. Not quite paying enough respect to the potential of Top Esports in this one. Question, of course, comes as what is the cost for Top Esports here? And they're going to lose out on a dragon on the bot side. They'll lose out on maybe the turret in the favour of Karis, but they are getting a lot of gold here onto, again, the other side of this matchup, the player who we highlighted as being the best top laner through this split.
That's the thing is they made this trade. WE opted into saying, no, we don't want the dragon. We're going to send 4 people top lane to try and take this skirmish. And while they were able to get some kills onto the Vi, they gave a lot of gold over to top esports as well. TES make another counterplay. And yes, you are going to pick up the Drake. You're going to stop that scaling and, you know, stop the stacking of dragons that top esports had at the start of this game. But ultimately, you've basically thrown a lot of your tempo on the map. You have to play around about an Erha. They are the gold lead here. Monki as well is in a strong position. They don't nearly have as much control as they did before. With Herald spawning in 5 seconds here, I think this could actually be a fight that could determine a lot of the mid game if both teams want to invest into it.
Current advantage is for WE across the map, but I will highlight here that the majority of that gold lead is sat in Erha's pockets, which currently has resulted in him having a Mikhail's. Monki with a quick snipe on that Gromp, but again, the Seraphine was probably going to be at Mikhail's at this break point anyway, and now top esports not so interested in the Herald, instead interested in the Spirit Fox down on the bot side, who does get away. Karis here much more easily able to pay the respect that is needed up against top esports. Good Mega Inferno Bomb from JackeyLove catches the majority of that top wave, but the next one's going to crash under the turret, and nobody from top esports is going to be there to collect it. It's a forfeit from top esports. They looked for a play on the bot side, they didn't find it. I think this TP might be a little bit in vain here, Kman.
Yeah, we'll see if Creme's going to be in danger. There are 4 people on the top side. He could very easily get dove, but ultimately they're not going to risk it. They're going to pick up the Herald, and they are going to make their way out. I understand the idea for top esports. They don't want to play around anything that isn't Jace at this point in the game because of that 1.5k gold lead. Creme obviously can make any play happen. Ultimately, WE are able to pick up the free objective, but their gold lead has been slashed because of it. Top lane is very much a position now where Zuian, who we talked about being a critical piece for top esports, pretty unquestionably the most successful top laner so far this split, now has a pretty big gold lead on a strong champion, has hit that 2-item power spike. They're going to need him to start popping off in these skirmishes if they want to try and get themselves back into the game and be able to start controlling the map a little bit, because take a look at your minimap. There are no blue wards anywhere on the map right now.
Yeah, they spent a little bit of time fighting out on that bot side to try and get vision, and now WE have come in, they've cleared it out. Now re-establishing around this top side, but to what end is my question? There's a Drake spawning in 2 minutes. That's the next objective. You don't want wards in the top side jungle if you're looking to try and take a fight around a dragon. More so providing some protection to Creme, who has now put this turret to close to execute range for JackeyLove. So there's an opportunity there, maybe, if they can move the Ziggs around the map nice and safely. As WE start off with the Herald in the mid lane, we're now at the point where you would imagine Ziggs can handle waves from this distance without too much difficulty. Just have to use his satchel to get out having caught by a volley, but you know, the wave does get nuked. Herald is still going to crash, as we are seeing a commit into the top side from WE.
Yeah, not the most successful Herald we've seen this split, but certainly not one that I think they're going to be upset by if they can pick up that tower soon. You know, people definitely have soured on Ziggs as a champion, but ultimately this is the value of Ziggs. The ease of wave clear that this champion offers with the safety as Arrow goes wide. I talk about the safety. JackeyLove definitely doing a good job to avoid that one, as he would have been in a bit of danger, but ultimately Ziggs can basically make any play happen, and at this point in the game, every wave is completely free for him. I imagine we're going to see JackeyLove continuing to farm up in the mid lane, and we see that CS gap already starting to close. It was a big lead earlier for About. We're now only sitting at roughly 800 gold as he's going to finish his second item, and we'll see if that ends up mattering, if they can capitalize on this small power spike they have now.
Alrighty, Kman. Both of these teams have kind of chilled out a little bit. We saw a lot of volatility sort of 5-10 minutes ago, but we restored ourselves to a relatively even game state. Who is this favoring? Who's happy to go the distance in this one?
I definitely would favor WE's comp in the back end of the game. They just have so much more damage. You really need this Neferi to be strong enough to pop off in these team fights if you want any chance of being able to control these objectives. And Tian being down over 1,000 gold onto the Vi is definitely a problem in this matchup. Certainly doesn't mean that top esports are doomed, but does make things a little bit more difficult in terms of their setup. You have to keep an eye on Zhuo and on Creme. Again, that macro duo is going to be really important if they can create odd-numbered fights. That is their pathway to victory, as Dragon is now spawning in 3 seconds. WE sets up well. They should have control over this river.
Alrighty, we'll take a quick look at those items in inventory. Remember, Zuian, 2 completed items, has the Muramana slotted over to the left. Tian, Creme, all ready on that 2-item spike. Jackie not quite able to finish off the Shadow Flame just yet, but definitely in a good position to throw out some poke. Top Esports turning up to this dragon. Ready and raring to go, it feels like here, with their poke champions sat ready and armed. It's now eyes on them. JackeyLove and Zuian, are they able to find the poke to ward away WE? Tian has already started up the dragon here as a charm lands onto a well-buffered Justice Punch. Creme able to get away from that one. It's only a second Drake for whoever secures it as Monki looks to go in, unsuccessful in that venture. Taunted up, now in the Mega Inferno Bomb, and just popped. Now Top Esports are going to look to continue on their rampage, on their assault of WE. Cube caught by the edge of the hero's entrance, gets taunted, gets taken down as well. This Neferi finally starting to provide some bark, catches 2 in the back of the fight.
WE are disoriented in terms of their setup here. They're completely disconnected on the front and back line. About gets chunked out for basically his entire health bar before that fight even starts. That's where the gold lead has gone for Top Esports, is Zuian being able to poke for free. But he gets poked out. He goes mid lane to try to heal up. Monki full engages on the Vi and just gets bursted and dies. Doesn't get the dragon. We're going to get a replay of this. Look at the disconnect. Look at where my Ashe is right now. Nowhere near the fight, and my Vi has engaged and is instantly dead. This fight is over before it's even started. At this point, the recommit from Top Esports is incredibly strong, burning a lot of summoners out of both Karis and Erha as Cube and the rest of the team are just kind of left out to dry. There's nothing to pick up here. This is exactly what TES needed. This is the kind of mistake that WE couldn't have. They're a comp that needs to be aggressive. They need to engage. They need to pull the trigger, and they just did not do it correctly there.
And they're a composition that thrives in the chaos. The 5v5s, not necessarily as chaotic as they might like. They're looking for those odd number 2v2s, 3v3s where those skirmishes can take place. Obviously they need to do that when they see the Shen, when they see the Galio, so it adds an extra layer of complexity to how they take those fights. To add an extra wrinkle to these compositions and the way they'll interact, Kman, I do think that, to your point, that WE are favoured later on, that the one thing that Top Esports do before a fight is poke. During, they don't really have that consistent DPS. And as this game gets later, they've got Seraphine here, WE, so that's just going to really counter the poke quite astronomically. And I think that for WE, if they can just slow the pace of this game down, they might end up finding themselves in a pretty good position come 35-40 minutes. If Top Esports allow them to get there. However, they do now have that gold lead. They have a very strong Jace out of the top side, and they're going to look to try to leverage that. 3 items with the Cyclo Sword. You can see chunking health bars. As Monki initial flash engage, really good buffers. No time for Tian to do anything. He gets picked off. He gets taken down. Creme's the next one to follow. And now WE have an inside track on the Baron.
That is it for WE, pulling the trigger on the enemy jungler. Top Esports have to stay in this area. This Baron is going to go down fast.
They've still got Pope, they've still got JackeyLove, they've still got Zuian. Is this one step too far for WE? Monki bails out over the back of the pit. In goes Zuian, bops Cube right on the head. The re-engage from Monki there onto Jace. Zuian falls. Looking for Shuo as well. They get 2. The jungler's dead, and WE have got 2 members left standing. JackeyLove looking here. It's a complete 50-50 as Karis takes all of his HP walking through the minefield. What are you doing? Flashes in, satchel auto attack. JackeyLove takes down the Ahri. The Baron stays alive, and WE have faltered.
Oh my god, Rude, what a fight from both of these teams. It looks so good for WE at the start of that exchange. It really does feel like they are going to be able to completely blow the game open. They catch out the enemy jungler right before Baron. And at some point, this fight completely shifts. Again, this is a very well done CC chain, but everything is blown on killing this Neferi. Every ultimate, arrow, Seraphine, Vi, everything. It's gone. It's done. There is nothing left for the rest of the team. And so when WE has to try to survive in this pit, the poke that you talked about, Rude, from the Jace, from the Ziggs, it's just firing into the back of this pit. Monki gets chunked out. Erha obviously already very low, and Cube is just non-existent in this fight. He gets bursted down by Zuian. At this point, so many resources have already been used, and JackeyLove can continue to free hit. Yes, you're losing, other members of the front line for TES, but Karis makes the executive decision to walk through the Ziggs bombs and just instantly dies, not respecting that damage. You're not going to be able to burst down that objective. Top Esports somehow come out on top of that play with a 2,000 gold lead for their top laner.
And we should restore to some semblance of normality here. We've had the mid-game lull, and now we're back to absolute carnage around these team fights. Without either side having a designated front line, definitely becomes very tricky for these teams to not have an incredibly scrappy fight. Drake spawning in 10 seconds here is most likely to go the way of Top Esports without too much of a contest. WE don't really have too much of a foothold in. There's one ward behind them, behind Top Esports, but it's Tian looking aggressively here. Stand United immediately gets arrowed, so that engage from Top Esports, a fail, a flub, if you will. Is that going to be enough to deter them from the Dragon? Looks like no, but WE being aggressively on the top side here, maybe calling a bit of their bluff.
Yeah, I am very curious to see if this goes the way of a trade. I think WE would be smart to pull the trigger here. They're not going to. Top Esports just going to have priority, and they're basically going to pick this Dragon up for free. That is best case scenario for them. They're not even going to have to feel scared of a Baron take in this exchange. I think we are seeing some of the negatives of Top Esports comp in the sense that, you know, we talk all the time about their poke. They don't really have a lot of engage. It's going to be a little bit difficult for them to choose where fights start. That's where WE definitely has a strong advantage with the Vi on the other side, but ultimately, they're going to be able to control space like this and pick up these objectives for free. They're now on Soul Point for Chemsoul. That is very much a win condition for them.
Yeah, it's about how well can they sort of push away WE before the fight even starts, before Monki's able to get in range to engage. And you can see that WE have sort of altered their build paths in line with this. About here, opting for the Bloodthirster instead of the Infinity Edge, recognizing that actually I kind of need to be the person to take this poke so that I can be the one to heal it back up. Monki secures the blue and he's going to engage onto Zhuo here, who gets rooted up, followed away. The flash comes through, but an enchanted crystal arrow lands on top of him. He Mikhails to give himself some HP and gets out, but the backside of this fight has gone very much in favour of Top Esports. The poke comes down and they take down two. This is actually Cube, who's found a double kill for himself. First name on the board for WE. And Cube gets two. WE come out on top in the fight. Zuian and Creme, or Zuian and JackeyLove rather, the ones caught out. That's the poke gone.
Yeah, that's the poke, and that's a lot of the pressure as Baron's going to be started. WE should be able to take this. Tian going to look for a steal.
Okay, and in goes Creme, still 7,000 HP immediately onto Monki. He's forced into the Guardian Angel, but what comes next? About standing strong, the Rangers focus straight into the heart of Zhuo. Baron, 4k HP, Tian lurking, trying to find a way in. No idea of the HP, trying to find the steal, has the hop over the wall. Creme gets vision, in goes Tian, steals it! The triple taunt is going to try to find the fight afterwards. Top Esports won't find it, but they don't care. Tian has performed the miracle, got the Baron, and got out to safety. Now Top Esports, though, they've got TPs, they've respawned. The bombs are bouncing over the wall. The Ludens catches about. He falls as well. Top Esports, they've come up in the clutch and Karis can't do enough. In goes Tian. Finds one. Finds two. It's another miracle from the Top Esports jungler as he's going to take down all three on the top side.
It's completely won by Top Esports. Tian saves the game. He lands the smite, he picks up the Baron, and the collapse on WE after is astronomical. The entire game has been shifted for TES in that one play. I cannot believe it. What a moment for Tian, somebody who has really not had a great game up until this point. Then Fury has not found that same impact. It does not matter. If you get that gold eventually, you're going to be able to get online. Monki, though,
yeah,
try and take down Tian.
The honey fruit's not quite able to keep him safe. He does end up falling hand in the wolf jar there. And now an arrow from downtown catches Zhuo. Don't think this is the target that Monki can 100-0 fully. And now there's a response. Now WE have the TPs. Karis spirit rushing in, looks for the charm, catches Zuian. Excellent pick. Equalizer comes down. Top Esports are routed. Creme goes golden. Is that going to save him here? Taunt comes down and the Justice Punch out keeps him alive. Top Esports, they took a tier 2 turret with that Baron, but WE have now got 30 seconds with 3 members dead from Top Esports.
Well, You know, anytime I guess you feel like you have confidence in top esports, they're immediately going to prove to you why you shouldn't, as they immediately get rid of the Baron buff that they did a great job of stealing away, and the game has once again slightly gone back in favor of WE, but ultimately, the map is neutralized. This has become a very, very fun game. Dragon spawning in a minute, that is soul for top esports. That is absolutely still a win condition, but we get a replay. They just stayed on the map way too long. You have to recognize that you don't have the members right now to be able to continue to push forward with this Baron buff. A recall and a reset to be able to redeploy was necessary, and TES just not showing that same level of respect. Oh, the blast cone into the arrow from Monki onto Zhuo is very nice. Unfortunately, not too much to be able to get off of it immediately. They're going to still have to burn that teleport, but this charm from Karis, being able to get in, landing it specifically on his way on is important. He is all of the damage right now for TES in some of these skirmishes, and once again, it's good prioritization from WE, but it's a throw from TES, and now Dragon likely will decide the whole game.
If WE secure it, it stops the soul. If top esports can find it, picks it up for them, and in this style of composition here, consistent DPS, a little bit hampered by a Chem Soul coming through. Monki dashes forward. Previously was 3 levels down on Tian, is now just the 1. As the poke from top esports is going to begin to come through. Mega Inferno bomb comes down, the bouncing bombs, the shock blasts, but look at what WE have. Erha on the Seraphine, healing people up. That surround sound and Summoner Heal now doing a lot of work. Looking for an engage. Encore catches 2. They've not yet found the work here, WE, and they're very low on HP. Erha has taken almost all of his HP from poke alone. Top esports looking to try and take this dragon.
Guardian Angel barely not up right now for Monki. That is a huge cooldown if they want to take this.
Zhuo on the super cone, looking for the taunt flash, immediately gets caught by a charm, though he's not found the engage at all. Falls immediately. Hero's entrance trying to cause disruption. It's a 1-for-1 so far. JackeyLove has gone down. 2-for-1. WE get the top esports actually finding the soul. And is that going to make the difference? Flashes away from an accelerated shock blast. It's a 1 fight for WE, but a soul secured by Tian.
It's insane how close that fight is. Monki was legitimately 5 seconds away from Guardian Angel being off of cooldown. If that was off of CD, they win that fight. He's able to get onto the backline and survive, and Smite is still up, but because he has to be the engage for this team, he goes down early. That means Soul is acquired by top esports. Look at the health bars of WE by the time this starts. Ziggs and Chase together are just impossible if you are not pulling the trigger early in these exchanges. Zhuo, on the other side of this, is going to blast cone over the wall and try to get onto Karis, but he immediately blast cones into a charm. Lets his AD carry just get taken down on the back end, but ultimately Monki has to be that engage again. He goes down, and we're looking at this dragon. Ends up just being taken by top esports. That is the benefit of Tian staying alive. While they're not able to take the fight, they get the bigger prize, the Chem Soul, in this exchange. Erha does have to burn the flash as well, so I would consider that a win for top esports, even if they lost out in the gold trade.
Yeah, like you say, the kill score was more favourable for WE, but the everlasting buff of a Chem Soul is really going to help them here. Again, top esports, a composition that has the poke, has the setup around these objectives, where for WE, they are more consistent DPS oriented. Yes, there's a little bit of burst with the Vi and the Ahri, but at this late stage, it really becomes about who does the lion's share of the damage, where that Chem Soul is going to really help out top esports. We've got a Baron spawning in 20 seconds, and both teams have got cursory vision around it, but seemed to have forgotten that it would be on the board. Now we're starting to see those resets, those redeploys out towards the top side, and now both of these teams recognizing what big objective is to come. If we can't find a resolution in the next 4 minutes, there is an Elder up for grabs.
I want to keep in mind, JackeyLove has built that Banshee's Veil, so it's going to be harder to find picks onto the Ziggs in these fights than it was before, but basically everything up, as WE is doing a great job of controlling a lot of the space around this Baron. Good vision for top esports, at least for now, to make sure that it's not started up, and should be able to collapse if it is, but ultimately, the longer this goes, the longer this delays, I think the better it's going to end up getting for a TES team that's going to continue to catch up in terms of gold. JackeyLove is going to be massive in these fights. We've seen so much priority on the back end onto this Ziggs from Monki, from Karis. See if those flanks can continue to go off, and if that 2k gold lead, which at this point in the game is not that big, if that's going to matter at any point in these fights as WE controls that space. Top
esports do have a very slow stacking wave down on the bot side. WE have sort of the same in the top lane. So if a fight is won and TPs are ready to use, that could be the thing that breaks this game even further open. Early engage from Monki. Looking to try to get onto the back line. They found JackeyLove. He's able to get away though. Mikhails keeps him alive for now. Stand United gives him even more HP. Karis falls. It's a pick by Zuian. The top laner has come to play, but WE are playing harder. In goes About with the flash to try to take down Tian. We're 35 minutes into this game, Kman, with 40-second death timers across 3 members. WE are barreling down the mid lane.
WE play it perfectly. They break the Banshee's Veil on JackeyLove and they waste no time. Monki immediately ults the Ziggs. And now with that pick, they're charging down mid. They're going to try and end the game.
Trying now to cut the waves way on. You can see trying to find a route through so that you can get access to the next wave. But WE have spotted that one. They're not going to let that be the case. 20 seconds on Creme, 20 seconds on JackeyLove. That is one step too far. WE back away, they take the win, they take the inhibitor, and with Baron alive here, they are going to immediately default back to that. They don't have the time to find those resets. I say that, they're going to look to do it anyway. In comes a TP. For the time being, it's Top Esports who are breathing a sigh of relief that all they lost was their inhibitor.
I honestly did not think that those backs were going to be coming through. Top Esports is going to have some time to get some vision here, but again, a replay of how this fight ends up breaking down. You have to keep an eye on JackeyLove. We just see the smite come through. It breaks the Banshee's Veil. You can instantly ult him, and at this point, the Ziggs is too far forward. He is going to get some damage down before this ends up beginning, but look at the rest of the team. The Shen instantly dies trying to channel ultimate. JackeyLove is already chunked, and Creme completely separated from the rest of the team. This is just a very good engage, and this is the problem for Top Esports. WE has so many ways to start fights. They have to hope and pray they can get that damage down quickly. If WE pull the trigger, they're going to be in a great spot, and now they have control over this Baron, but Elder is spawning in 1 minute. Have to keep an eye on that as well.
And again, in this late game, the composition for WE just functions better into what Top Esports have to offer. They've got this big poke comp as Top Esports, answered by a Seraphine, which does exactly what it needs to. Lots of CDR in the inventory. Got a Diadem going for a lot of mana as well. As now Monki hops forward, gets caught by a taunt. Hasn't yet called for anyone, but Creme is getting melted here. Monki spots one, instead decides, we will take your front line. Now Karis going forward. Charm dodged away from, but Zuian falls anyway. 2 quick picks, and now WE, what are you going to do?
WE are just clinical with this gold lead. Tian potentially could be in danger. Gonna get chased out of the mid lane, and WE's gonna make their way to the top side. This should be Baron. I really don't see a way for Top Esports to be able to contest this all that heavily. So much of their poke is gone with the Jace off of the map. He's been their gold lead the entire game, but they're actually going to stick mid lane. They're going to play for wave. Erha going to look for JackeyLove, not going to find its target.
Yeah, Elder has just spawned as well. So WE, this is very, very bold from them. They're splitting resources here. They've sent 2 to the Elder, and they're keeping 3 people on this top side to prevent Top Esports from taking it in response. And they've played this perfectly here, Kman. It is a wonderful call that comes up aces for them. Elder Dragon secured across all 5 members. As now WE have 2.5 minutes to close out this game.
Definitely well played. I was curious to see if they were going to have the time to take both Baron and then reset and fight for Elder with the push that they were going to get. They recognize, hey, Elder's on the map. Like, why do we care? Let's just take that. Who needs to mess around and try to get greedy and take everything? I guess I'm just so used to LPL teams wanting to take everything on the map. But WE going to be happy with that Elder buff. They're going to transition over now to the Baron as well. They should be able to pick this up for free because there's just no way that you can walk up to a WE comp that has so many ways to pull the trigger and actually fight them in this close quarter. So WE going to get everything, going to try and make their final push, and this could be everything they need to try and end this game.
And I do think here that Tian opting for what is a pseudo tanky build path that doesn't have Guardian Angel does just feel like he's missing out on an extra trick here. The Neferia champion that can be so slippery, so maneuverable. Not having that GA to get in and then get back out again with that second life does feel a little bit awkward for me, as WE are barreling down here. They're looking for 5 people. Hold on, Kman.
TP?
Top Esports are base racing WE. They've said we can't win in a straight up 5v5, but we can win in a base race. Cube is looking to TP to get back to base, but They don't have anywhere near the damage. Top Esports have 10-3 into the base, and they've lost all of them immediately. About is going to close out this game in maybe the most anticlimactic ending to an incredible game. Everybody, we apologise. Honestly, a little bit yes, a little bit no. We knew the Gremlins had gone somewhere. Turns out they'd gone into Ice's PC instead of ours. It was too good to be true. But fortunately, I think Kman, the gameplay we asked for to be a little bit better in terms of its non-one-sidedness, and we got that for game number 1.
We absolutely did, Rood. And you know what? I gotta give props to WE. This draft was great. Their execution on the draft was phenomenal. They played the mid-game really well. They had plenty of tools to engage. They controlled space. This is the WE we wanted to see. This team somehow always plays up to their opponent. It's crazy how consistent it is. You put WE up there against the top teams in the LPL, they're gonna make it worthwhile. Really happy to see them do that in game 1.
Yeah, it was a very close sort of first 25 minutes, really. Which benefited WE ultimately. We highlighted that their composition was probably going to be favoured as this game got later, and you could see, look, 25 minutes, even past 25 minutes, Top Esports had an advantage where they won that fight around the Baron. We forget that Tian made an absolute hero play on the top side where he stole the Baron, found a triple kill. And then it looked like Top Esports were going to run away with the game from there, but no. It was a very swinging metronome, in fact, that went back and forth, and ultimately landed on WE.
Take your screenshots, post them on socials. You've got your LPL gold graph that we're waiting for. We got to get at least one of these in every single day, I think. But you know, good stuff. I think overall, very fun game number 1. I want to give Top Esports some credit as well. They hung in there. I think this is a hard game to play out in the back end for them because they don't really have any clear ways to engage at the end of this game, and so much of their comp relies on Tian just being fed, which he was not throughout this game, and that was a big problem. But man, like this was really clinical from WE outside of this one specific fight where they tried their best to throw the game. Tough from them, but ultimately they were able to rebound and win.
And even at this stage as well, I do think that WE's ideas were right. Monki going out of the pit because he needs to stay alive to keep the smite ready. Karis, again, I questioned this at the time. Walking through the explosive minefield is not typically the best way to succeed versus a Ziggs, but he found that one out and didn't look to repeat it all that frequently. But from that fight afterwards, it was then WE who were able to consistently find avenues and consistently work their way into strong positions, and also to, like I say, bounce back against the Top Esports might, because they did have quite a few things in their chamber ready to go. Fortunately, WE had another revolver locked and ready.
I mean, this is the thing you get. This is the benefit you get from drafting an easier to execute comp. Again, Top Esports needed that gold lead. This comp is almost impossible to play from a gold deficit just because you have to rely on just being able to, jump in on Neferi and survive the exchange. I think you pointed out in the game, Rude, the lack of Guardian Angel on Tian as well. That is essential towards the way that you need to play out this game. This Neferi has to be flying in with Stand United and Galio Ultimate and all of these shields on top of Tian. It just didn't really end up working out like that because he wasn't able to get the lead. WE with Vi, with Seraphine to be able to block a lot of the poke, as you mentioned really well. They just had all of the tools necessary to win. To be fair, WE still played great. We can talk about comp diff. You still have to go out there and execute, but ultimately, I think they definitely had an easier time playing in game 1.
They did, and they made it work as well. I mean, credit to Monki. Yeah. I think he found a couple of really solid engages. Obviously, this one that we're seeing on our screen, but I think the one that gave them an avenue into the game earlier, where he flashes onto Tian. shorts his Q, makes it so that there's no time for the call the pack to come through, and WE get that really nice CC chain. I think was a really good way to get them back in. And then Top Esports here, I can see the vision. I understand what they're trying to do here. They're not going to win a fight. They're probably just going to lose out underneath their turrets. So they have to go for something that's a bit off the wall. And when you've got Ziggs, yeah, you can probably base race and think that that's a good idea. Unfortunately, they weren't able to stop the backs that are already shortened because there's a Baron recall as well. So the vision is there. However, it was just a bridge too far, much too difficult to execute.
Yeah, I don't know. Flame me if you want. I think that's the right call for Top Esports. I think that is the decision you should make in that part of the game, is basically just hope WE screw up, because you're not going to win that fight. And, you know, sometimes teams just do not react well to something like that, but we're going to be getting our player of the game. It's going to go to Monki on this Vi. I think this is the correct call, for as much as we want to give some praise and advantages to the bot lane, who I think played great in this game, both About and Erha, I think, doing a great job. This was Monki's game, for sure.
It was. And I agree. I think this is, again, I love using this word for MVP votes. This is an ethical MVP for Monki. And, you know, he'll probably get many, many more. But it's good to see that he was able to rally behind, or rally his team as well. Captain of WE secures another player of the game. But that Kman is going to do it here for our coverage of game number 1. 8 for 8 on the Monki vote, as we would expect. But WE start off this series strong. Top Esports currently 0-3 on their week. Their job, rebound, come back from this deficit. And we will see if they can do that on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.